Sometimes, especially if you come to do this programming on your computer, you will get an error with authentication. And in case if you do have such an error with authentication, you will go into your MySQL, this command, alter user root at localhost, and if it is some other different user you are using, specify it. Identified with MySQL native password by, then you specify whichever password you use when installing your MySQL workbench. Do we understand that? Aha. So if in case you come across any such errors, so that is what you will need to do. So let us continue. So by coming to this endpoint of slash API slash LG, then this is what we are going to get. And by coming to the endpoint of, so let me make a little comment here and say get all LGs. Okay. Now we want to see how we can actually pick a particular local government by its ID. For example, this Basa has the ID of 1, just not has the ID of 2. So we want to make it so that if we say slash LG slash 1, we press enter, for example, want to display only Basa. Okay, right now we don't have that endpoint, and you can see it is saying cannot get that particular API. So what we will do is we will come over inside our work. So let me duplicate this, shift alt down arrow key, and let me change this into get LG by ID, and then here I will do slash, then I will supply the ID. But before I supply the ID, you will need to add this column, so that is indicating any ID as a parameter. So since we are working with parameter, now I want to capture this parameter. So let me come inside the body of this request, and I will do const ID equals to request dot params dot id, just like that. Okay, so this id is going to be scooped as this id. Okay, request dot params dot id. Okay, so now I will add this query. I will add something to this query. I will say where id is equals to a question mark. So this question mark can represent anything. Then also inside this query execution, I will have to supply an array, and inside the array I will pass that ID. Okay, so this is all that is required for that to work. Let me go ahead and save, and then let me come to the endpoint and refresh. All right, so now we have gotten the ID of 1, and now if I change this into 2, you will see I'm able to get just not. And if I simply call just slash id slash, then I will get the two of them. Now how about rs? Okay, so again we don't have this endpoint. It can simply say cannot get that endpoint because we don't have it. So we'll come over inside our programming here, and let me simply make the duplicate of this, shift alt down arrow key. So as you can see at the top here, we have the LGs, all LGs, and this one is get LG by ID, and then this one, let me say get all RS. I will also do get RA by ID. So let me simply make another duplicate here, and this is simply going to say get all RS. So let me do slash RS right here, and then remove this. So I cannot work with that one, and then I will remove this query, and also remove this. Okay, so this should be it for this endpoint slash API slash RS. Okay, and then for RA by ID, so let me do slash RS slash ID, and then that is going to be coming from RAS. Also, this one should be from RAS. That is the name of the table. This one should not have that where ID, and then this one should have that where. Okay, so then save and continue. Okay, so now let us test and see slash API slash RS. Now we get all the RS. Let me switch to row. Here are all the RS, okay, from Gabia to Vanderpool. That is local government ID 1 and local government ID 2. Now slash RA slash any ID. For example, let's say I am looking for ID number 15. Okay, so this is ID number 15, Zobolo. Assume that I am looking for number 22. This is Jenta Adamu. Okay, how about number, let's say 60? Nothing there because we don't have any ID with that. We don't have any RA with that ID. Okay, the highest they go is actually 30, so you can't go beyond 30. And these are all the RS that we are able to pick with this endpoint. Now, another endpoint which I want to create is the endpoint that can allow me to simply pick all RS which belong to a particular LG. So, for example, I can do something like this: API slash LG slash 1 slash, let's say, LGs slash RS, then for example slash 1. Okay, so that means we are looking for all the RS belonging to that particular LG. But I think it will be better if it looks like this: RS, something like so. That is what I'm going to look for now. Okay, so how I can do this is, let me come back to my programming and let me duplicate this one, shift alt down arrow key, and let's say get all RS for an LG ID. Okay, so that means I will do slash LG, then slash, then let me say RS. Okay, so in that case, I will do from, that is going to be from RS, but that is going to be here where LG ID is going to be so parameter right here. Okay, and this ID is going to be request.params.iid. Okay, so let me just make this one to be like so. All right, so now let me go ahead and save that, and then let me make that question. So let me change to row. So here are all the IDs from this particular local government, and if I do /2 /rs, then I will get only the RS from Jos North, starting from Abana Shehu and stopping at Bondapoi. Let me go past, so you can see we have the only RS from this particular